Hello there everybody, you're the audience, my name is Supersonic Blur, and welcome back to the next episode of Professor Layton vs. Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. Last time, we heard the testimonies of the 10 tumultuous vigilantes, and my goodness gracious me, trying to pick through all of that was a nightmare. We have come up with the concept that maybe there was someone else who could have been there. You know, no one can say for certain that there wasn't there, and we do have a mysterious robe that seems to just be up there, with no understanding of why it is. So now, we're hearing what the vigilantes have to say about that. The storyteller finished speaking to the crowd at the town square in the evening. That's when the Great Witch appeared. I still cannot forget the sound of that terrible incantation. It was undoubtedly that girl's voice. We ran towards the tower as soon as we saw her, keeping our eyes on her to make sure she didn't escape. We split into two groups at the entrance, one group to guard it, the other to chase down the witch. I was in the first group. I was one of the pursuers. I ran into the tower and caught the witch. There was no one but us at the crime scene. We captured the girl. There was nowhere for anyone to hide there. There was no other witch, I'm sure of it. The entrance. I was looked. That's right, young one. The fateful bell tower. The fateful incident. We saw them both with our own fateful eyes. Well, I suppose that can again be summed up by saying, you all did the best you could. The vigilantes were the first to arrive at the crime scene. Their testimony is credible. It does seem so, and if what they say is indeed true, it would be decisive proof that the accused's guilt. Our opponent is a witch, the Great Witch to be exact. Things probably aren't as simple as they seem. If you think so, feel free to look for any cracks in their testimony, if there are any, and if you're up to it. Defender, you may begin the interrogation. Well, we have at least one thing that we could come up with the concept of, and that's Foxy. They're the only one who made a really decisive point that we have any evidence that goes against. Like, we don't, like, if we look at, the evidence we've got, this doesn't change anything, this doesn't change anything, this, however, if we have a look at the details on it, you can see we've got the belfry. We know for a fact that this is the crime scene, but what the hell happened up here? Could anyone get up here? We know there's the bell up there, but what does it actually mean? Like, how do you, like, could someone be up in the belfry? That's the question. So that's the question we have to ask Foxy. I think that presenting the Objection! Yes, sorry. The eyes of the whole town were on the bell tower, and the entrance was locked. Witches may be able to make themselves invisible, but they can't physically disappear. Which means it's not unreasonable to suggest that escaping from the bell tower was nearly impossible. However, hiding themselves after the incident is a different story. That's the sketch of the bell tower, isn't it? Most fascinating. Well, Defender, how about you show us? Enlighten us as to where exactly the witch could have hidden. Well, that's just right in the belfry, of course. Got it! She hid here, of course, at the very top of the bell tower. Objection! It may seem like a plausible place to hide. However, that part of the bell tower is inaccessible to anyone. The stairs don't go up as far as the belfry. Objection! High Inquisitor Darklaw, we are talking about a witch here. A witch can do lots of things that are impossible to us with the use of magic. If you were a true knight of the court, You'd show us evidence rather than trying to justify your vague theories with the use of magic. Oh, come on! That's what you do! She kind of has a point, Nick. How else could someone get into the top of the bell tower? There has to be a way. Was it magic or something a little more plausible? Whatever it was, I need proof. It's getting late. I can see no point in dwelling on this. Defender, you may continue your interrogation. We captured the girl. So that, unfortunately, that doesn't really offer a lot for us. There was no other witch, I'm sure of it. It's good locked. There was no other witch. Why are you sure of it? Why are you sure of it? A witch could have used magic to remain unseen. Sorry to disappoint you, but no one used any magic at that time. What makes you so sure? To cast a spell, a witch needs to say that spell's incantation. And we heard no incantation nor any other suspicious noises. Oh? We have some sounds. Lots of people seem to have heard stuff. However, notice who it is that said. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Everyone who was in the group who were the pursuers seems to have heard something. Now we just have to go through each one and figure out which one it is. Let's start left to right, shall we?
Hang on!
Mr. Shaky? I didn't mean to startle you. Do you have anything to add to Mr. Treadon's testimony? Yes. I think there was something. A strange noise. You actually heard something at the crime scene, and you say it was a strange noise? Yes, Look what you did, Nick! That's just cruel! What, I didn't do anything! I can't remember if I heard anything odd when we were in the bell tower. Excuse me, Mr. Shaky? Looks like we're temporarily one witness down. Let's give him a break. Maybe someone else also heard that noise. Number 8 said he didn't hear anything unusual. And it wasn't only Shaky that seemed to have a different opinion on that matter. Let's question the other witnesses too. Indeed! Let's question those on that. Yeah, suppress. And it's all, if you think about it, it's all 5 who went up into the other area. So now we've just got to... Oh. So, what have we got here from you? Excuse me, number 6? Yeah, I'm sort of busy thinking about something right now. What did you think about Mr. Treadon's statement? Is there anything you'd like to share with us? Well, kind of. Just a thought I had. Treadon saying that Sissy didn't hear the incantation, the witch didn't use magic, right? Yeah, she didn't, so she couldn't have turned invisible, see? That's some surprisingly good reasoning, especially coming from you. But couldn't she simply cast a spell earlier? Huh? If she was invisible from the start, of course we wouldn't have heard that incantation. My, aren't you the smart one, Servius? You took the words right out of my mouth. I was thinking the same. Out of Foxy's mouth? Oh dear, I feel like I'm melting inside. Watch me bask in Foxy's love, Treadon. The envy, the jealousy, the Karen. You make me suffer so, Foxy. It was a noteworthy testimony. But this witness wasn't the only one that seemed to have something to say. Yep. So, well, we know what exactly Foxy's going to say on that matter as well, so I think we can ignore Foxy, which leaves us with just, Mr. Wordsmith. Yes, so, I say, finally the right one. Excuse me, Mr. Wordsmith? I do not know of anyone by that name. Yeah. Anyway, would you like to comment on Mr. Treadon's testimony? I see you have nothing to say. He's in greenfield mode again. Do not rush to conclusions, young one. I am on a green field, sky-clad, watching petals dancing in the wind. Yep, kinda knew you'd say that. And yet, a single shaft of light has been shone through the dark abyss of my memory. I heard something in the bell tower when we went to apprehend the witch. Hmm? What did you hear? Was it an incantation? No, it wasn't an incantation. Nevertheless, it sounded like a woman's voice. Mr. Wordsmith, this is extremely important information. Please add this to your testimony. Yes, I shall do just that. It is in the best interest that I tell you about it now before I forget again. As the defender requested, you will now testify about the sound you heard. I recall hearing a woman's voice, a faint, delicate sobbing, no less. Alright, well, let's press this. You heard a woman sobbing, right? Yes, sobbing, or perhaps wailing. She sounded a bit like hinges in need of some grease. Boy, his falsetto packs a serious punch. And there was another noise, too. It was a pleasant sound, rather like that of wooden cogs in motion. Huh? And another sound. A clank of chains creaking. We've come a long way from the sound of a woman crying. Ow! I remember now. A woman's scream. It was likely the contraptions. On second thought, I heard it too. I remember a certain wailing, creaking noise flying through the air. And when did you hear this? We ran into the bell tower, and I think it was when we arrived at the entrance. Indeed, only the quickest of us got there in time to hear it. Mr. Wordsmith is a fast runner? Gotta be honest, Nick, I never saw that coming. I think it might speak more for the slowness of the other vigilantes, rather. Anyway, we've got a new piece of info. The vigilantes heard some noise resembling machinery in the bell tower. I wonder what that was making all that noise and clanks and creaks. Was there any machinery up in the bell tower? Now's the perfect time to present something that may have some connection to those noises. Indeed. Looks like they're all saying pretty much the same thing, but there was another witch in the bell tower, and only it would be easy to prove. If the other witch used the invisibility spell, that would explain why no one saw her. You're no kidding, Maya, that's the whole point of invisibility after all. But just knowing that doesn't help me. I need more information to go on. I'm sure there was one more person, another witch in that bell tower at the time of the incident. I'm gonna find a way to prove it. Right, let's keep our eyes peeled for any witnesses acting suspiciously. Yeah. Well, we know pretty much where we need to go at this point. We've got that machinery and contraption and sound. Alright, and you. Let us present... I don't think it was. I think it was, in fact, this contraption. The defense has a theory regarding the source of those strange sounds. It was most likely this. This mechanism is on the middle floor of the bell tower. That reminds me, there was some contraption up there unlike anything I'd seen before. That's right, Chief. We never touched it, though. How about we try operating that contraption to see what it does? We might just be able to reproduce that sound that Mr. Luddlelands heard at the crime scene. Right, you might be onto something. But it was I who testified about it before that young man. I talked about it too. Well, you've got my curiosity. Let's see you set that contraption in motion. My lord, just leave it to me. Get ready, everyone! Prick up your ears! Okay, well, that's it! That's the very same sound I heard! Oh, it is. That's what I heard as well. Yes, that's it! I love Shen. I just love the fact you get that cling sound. Every so often, that's perfect. As you've all seen, or rather heard, it's clear that device was operated shortly after the incident. That doesn't change the fact that we know nothing about what that contraption does. Your demonstration hasn't led us to any valuable conclusions. Objection! Remember our demonstration a little while ago? Demonstration? Are you referring to that silly contraption? Objection! That contraption serves a very specific function. The plan of the bell tower shows no stairs leading up to the belfry. Now, if you think about it in relation to the plan, it's obvious what this contraption is for. It's a mechanism enabling access up to the belfry. What? What is this? Is that what it is? Helps if I read the words on screen. But yeah, we've got somewhere. Order! Order! Another witch was in the bell tower when the incident happened. And the reason she wasn't discovered is because she used that contraption to reach the belfry and hide up there. Objection! Hold your horses, Defender. You seem oblivious to the contradiction in your reasoning. Yeah, what do you mean? Think about it, Phoenix. If that contraption was operated and didn't enable access to the belfry, it can't do that. I'm talking about your little demonstration earlier. Yes, the device was set in motion and made some strange noises. And yet... that's all it did. That's right. Nothing else happened. If it was a device for accessing the top of the tower, then why didn't it take us there? Ergo, that contraption is of no relevance to the case. Which brings us back to my erstwhile conclusion. That there was no other witch. Objection! It's too early to say that, High Inquisitor. And why is that? Sure, our demonstration didn't show it, but maybe the device didn't work because it wasn't used correctly. What? Why do you think so? My reasoning is simple. Let's just say it would be troublesome if just anyone could go up and sound that bell. So it's reasonable to assume that access to that belfry would be restricted. In other words, a special key would be needed. A key? And I think I know just what that key is. Before I ask you to present evidence, I'd like to summarize your theory. You believe that there was another witch in the bell tower at the time of the incident, and that this witch used a contraption within the tower to make her way up to the belfry and hide there. Your whole theory rests solely upon that contraption. If it doesn't allow access to the belfry, then your reasoning is completely wrong. I'm sure you know what that would mean for Espella. Your mistake would seal her fate. Yes, I'm aware of that. Alright then, the defense shall prove its theory. Show us this key needed to operate the contraption in the bell tower. We believe it's this pendant. The key to the contraption is this pendant. That belongs to the accused, doesn't it? That's right. We found it at the crime scene. Now, if we take a look at the bottom part of the contraption, there is a depression here about the exact size of the pendant. Oh yes, I remember it. A hole in the shape of that pendant. But I don't get it. Why would that pendant be the key to the bell tower? I don't know either. At least not for now. But the point is, it definitely is. With this pendant, we should be able to operate the contraption and access the belfry. Well then, the court will grant the defense a chance to prove its assertion. However, you shall be given one chance only. Are you ready, defender? Make sure you are prepared for the consequences of a mistake. This will be your only chance. If it doesn't work, that will be the end of it. Yes, I'm ready. I've got to be right about this. Good. To be honest, this looks like a puzzle. I wish the professor was here. This is totally his field of expertise. Are you ready, Nick? Shall we give it a try? Yeah, it's got to work. Isabela's fate depends on this. Talk about pressure. I've got to stay calm. Alright, puzzle number 64. The Bell Tower. Pendant light is reflected by the blue gems on the circumference of the gears each machine. Each gear will rotate 90 degrees when turned. Rotate the gears to align the blue gems and redirect the light. A large central gem will only reflect light when it is vertically positioned, and when rotated, light must hit the red gems on either side at the same time. Rotate. Okay. Okay, Nick, let's give this thing a shot. Whoa, a beam of light! Of course, this must be the key. That light is just begging to be pointed at one of those red gems. You're right. Still, it looks like there's some kind of trick to this whole thing. A trick? Yeah, think about it. There are two gems, so I bet we have to light them both up simultaneously. Looks like we're gonna have to do it with only a single beam of light, too. What? Are you sure we can pull that off? I have no clue, but we've got no choice but to try. All we have to do is move the gears and bounce the light off those blue gems. Alright. No time for jitters, Nick. We've got to make this work for Isabela. Indeed we do. However, I think there's a problem here. In so much that there's, like, no way you can hit that. Like, we also can't hit that middle one. So that doesn't really help, does it? And, like, you can hit that, but... You did it! Did you see that? It lit up for a second. Yeah, it did, but there was only one gem. What gives? Nothing's happening. What exactly did you expect? Huh? The gem must be lit simultaneously. But there's only one light. That's impossible. Indeed. Now then, I believe we have our answer. It is, as you say, impossible. Think, Phoenix, think. You need two beams of light to hit two gems. You have a pendant. Oh. Wait a second, let me try just one more time. That will not be necessary. Your time is up. Or have you already forgotten? You were given only one chance to back up your claim. No way! Darklaw also didn't want to reveal that piece of evidence. In the end, the defense has failed to prove its theory. The contraption cannot be operated with the pendant. But the pendant fit right into the mechanism. There's no way that that's a coincidence. But still, no matter how much I try, it seems impossible to direct the light of both gems simultaneously. It seems your foolish experiment was wasn't too much of a waste of time. Huh? While you were tinkering with that contraption, the accused regained consciousness. Oh, Isabella! Is she okay? Well, despite seeming a bit confused, she's in better shape now. Although, I wouldn't describe her situation as okay. Quite the opposite, in fact. Don't tell me you've forgotten your agreement with the judge. You failed to prove your theory, and so the accused's fate has been decided. There's nothing I could say to that. Attendants, bring in the accused.
Accused, the trial has reached its conclusion in your absence. The court shall now announce its verdict.
The verdict.
No, something's still wrong. Think, come on, think!
You are the Great Witch, and your true name is Bezella. This evening, a terrible crime took place. You killed your father, the storyteller, using the spell Grandworm. Does the accused have anything to say?
Yes, I am Bezella, the one that brought calamity upon this town.
Something's still wrong here. Why wouldn't, do you remember what one of the or one of the crowd said? They said they thought they saw Isabella have a pendant on her when it was presented. Darklaw was given that pendant but chose not to bring it up.
Are proof of this.
Why?
I remember the legendary fire in which this town was burned to the ground. And this day, several hours ago, I summoned a fire dragon and took my own father's life.
Ha!
There is
Gotcha.
no doubt that the great
What do we have here? You see what I see? Right there.
Hold it!
No, Isabella, you can't! Don't say that! You're under a spell. Don't give up just yet, please! Fool. What? You've been fighting a battle in this court. You have come here with your logic, finding contradictions to astound everyone. It was your battle, not hers. So how can you be telling her not to give up when you have already dropped your sword? If you are a true knight of the court, you will fight your battle to the end. Why is she telling me this? It almost sounds like she's encouraging me. Is she waiting for something?
No, it's okay, Mr. Wright. Ever since I was little, I can only remember being all alone. But that's not really true. There were people who were dear to me and memories that I cherished. At least, I think there were. But I've already lost all that.
Poor Isabella.
They were taken from me the moment I became Bezella.
But you said that you became Bezella before that, so when are your memories of you being all alone?
Poor Isabella. Since then, I started working at Aunt Patty's bakery. I met Mr. Wright, Maya, Mr. Layton, and Luke. The four of you did all you could to help me. I am truly happy to have met you. But blame for the Great Witch's crimes rests solely on my shoulders.
No, it doesn't, though. Something's still wrong. And Dark Lord's goading Phoenix for no apparent reason.
Let's put an end to this now. Bezella must not remain in this town. Thank you, Mr. Wright.
Wait a sec. Espella! Well then, it's time for the final verdict. Think, Phoenix, think! Isn't there anything I can do? I just need something. Anything that could offer even a single glimmer of hope in this darkness of despair. There's gotta be something, right?
Objection!
Yeah. Your Honor, please hold off with the verdict. What's that, Defender? It's too early to pass the final judgment on Espella. What? Explain yourself. You said earlier that the trial has reached its conclusion. But there's something we have yet to examine. What are you suggesting? Do you mean to say you have some new evidence? But surely there can't possibly be any new evidence at this late stage. Very well, Defender. We shall play along with you just one more time. Now show us this evidence that we haven't seen yet. The new crucial piece of evidence is on Espella's person. There's only one place where it can be. It's on Espella's. It's in Espella's possession. I have it. I saw it. For a second, something there that she shouldn't have. An item that contradicts what we've heard. My gut feeling tells me that item is the key to this whole case. Most interesting. I shall enjoy watching you hopelessly struggle through this, like a fish caught in a net. Now, Defender, show us this new evidence that the accused supposedly has in her possession. It's right there.
Got it!
Espella, can I see that bracelet on your left hand? Yes, certainly, if you'd like. It's actually a pendant, you know. But the strap got torn somehow when I was up in the bell tower. That's why I've had it around my wrist since, well, just before this trial started. But this pendant? It looks exactly the same as the one we already have here. Wait a minute, what's all this? We confiscated her pendant at the crime scene. What is she wearing it now? I don't get it. It's giving me a headache. So I was right. I have another question about this pendant. Espella, do you remember exactly when the strap broke? I'm trying to remember, but no, I can't. I know it was still fine when we parted ways, but in other words, she has no memory of it. She doesn't remember when it broke or when she tied it to her wrist. That's certainly bizarre, I must say. Your pendant has already been submitted as evidence.
Objection!
And yet, Espella still has her pendant. That's a fact we can all attest to, which means there must have been two pendants to begin with. Really?
Objection!
So there are two, and the accused was caught red-handed at the crime scene. Whether this pendant is hers or not, it doesn't change anything. Yeah. She was caught red-handed by us, the vigilantes. This pendant proves something crucial to the case. It can't be more crucial than us catching her at the crime scene. The second pendant wasn't dropped by a speller. So, as the defense already suggested, one more person was at the crime scene. What? What? Order! Order! Accused, you will submit your pendant as evidence this instant. Yes, my lord. Nick? If we have two pendants to work with, maybe we can see if that strange contraption will work this time. Wait. That makes sense. That must be why it didn't work before. Your Honor, the defense would like to try operating the mechanism in the bell tower one more time. What? Why now? The contraption didn't work before because we only had one pendant. But both pendants are needed to operate it properly. Foolishness! Try as many times as you'd like, it's no use. High Inquisitor Darklaw, you know this is a waste of time. If it's not going to work anyway, why not let the defense see for himself? What? Defender, if you think you can operate the contraption with two pendants, then I suggest you go ahead and try it, unless it has already dawned upon you that such a plan is futile. Not quite, and I have an idea as to how we're going to do it. The defense shall be given one more chance to verify its theory about the aforementioned contraption. Let us now make our way to the bell tower. My god, we get to see the judge's legs? I never thought we'd do this. This is going to be your last try. I know. Are you not terrified? The life of the accused rests in your shaking hands. We won't be having any more let me try again, please, your honors. Besides, you must be aware that this puzzle may well be unsolvable. I wouldn't have been able to solve a puzzle like this before arriving here in Labyrinthia. But now, I'm sure I can take on any puzzle. It's all thanks to you, Professor. You taught me that every puzzle has a solution. And I have everything I need now. What do you say, Maya? Should we hurry up and get started? Sure thing! It's puzzle busting time! Alright. Puzzle number 64, the bell tower. Yep, and now we have two pendants here. Yep. Two beams of light. Now, here's my idea. The first thing I want to do is rotate this. Because what I've got an idea here is, we do something like this, but then I need this one to, like, do that. Right. Now that it's done that, here's the idea. Turn that. Bam. Like that. Since they have to be activated simultaneously, the last move must be to touch both of them at the same time. So if we go through the middle one, we turn it, bam, and that will reflect. So by setting it up to reflect already, we know that we can then start testing where it's going to go. So we're not doing, we're not trying to think out like where it's going to bounce and bounce again. You just twaddle it once and back again. As the red gem shines with an intense light, the larger gem on the pillar begins to emit a gleaming light. I'm sure I did it right. Nothing's happening. This sound. What the hell? Okay. Look what we have here. This is... What an astounding contraption! Oh, what do we have here? It is still no comparison to the incomparable astoundingness of Mother Nature. Oh, I'd like to climb up those stairs. I like being on top. We shall escort you! I have a good chair! Okay, Nick. Let's go see what's upstairs.
Nick, isn't this bell?
Yeah, I think you're right.
A
That's the
bell.
bell that was taken from underground. The bell of ruin.
Very interesting.
Bell that must not be sounded.
Huh?
Nick, there's someone hiding behind the bell.
Who's up here?
Ah,
It's you. Again.
you. Now that's the last person I expected to find here.
Yeah, I think we all did.
Miss Kira.
Well, well, well. What a startling development. Well, we'll have to see how that goes next time. For that is to be continued. For now, though, we're going to go ahead and end things off here. Next time, we'll have to see whether or not we get a conclusion or whether or not we follow along with the professor, who is still heading his way up the storyteller's tower. Either way, we'll find that out next time. For now, we end things off here. If you have enjoyed this episode, then do be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more, and to share this stuff so people know that it exists. My name has been Supersonic, but you guys have been a fantastic audience, and I shall see you all next time.